Welcome to a new episode of the Opening Bid Unfiltered podcast. I'm Yahoo Finance Executive Editor Brian Sozzi here at the NASDAQ in Times Square. And like I always say, this is a podcast that will make you a smarter investor, period. Now, you may be wondering why I have my sleeves rolled up. I'm wearing a tie. Usually I come up here on Opening Bid Unfiltered with a tight-fitting sweater, a button-down shirt, casual conversations. But really, I'm paying homage and tribute to my next guest, who in many respects launched my career. And as I've told you guys many times before, I was a stock analyst for about 11 years. I got an email maybe in 2015 from someone you know very well because you've been following him for decades, Jim Cramer, maybe 2015, said he'd like something I think I wrote on Starbucks or Sears. And that essentially lended way to a column on his business news publication, 2 columns, 3 columns, videos. And then I got to work so closely with him, sit next literally 5 yards from him in the office on 14 Wall Street. And after all those years, I think we worked together 7.5 years. We never did a video together.
You went unfiltered?
This is first.
You went unfiltered. You know, I'm like fighting
Jim
tears.
Cramer's here.
I am fighting tears because I never thanked you. You were our savior. You were an amazing editor. You encouraged everyone. You knew who was good and who was bad. I remember I was going to hire someone, and you said, absolutely not. What a great call. You remember that.
I do remember.
I have loved and respected.
I'm going to fight back tears.
I got to get a grip on this thing.
We're stoic dudes.
I got to get a grip on this thing because you know that we, in the end, were a great organization. And that was because of you. I mean, you were, I don't know how you could ever do as much work. You outworked me, which is saying something. And I thank you for having me because you are a beacon for great journalism in an area where I always worry that we're going to run out.
That's a good point, Jim. And I'm going to get into your book. I just want to say this, too. There, you know, when we were building TheStreet, it was this iconic publication. You founded one late.
In 1995, I found it in 1996, we were ready to roll.
1995, and you gave me essentially the keys to the kingdom. I think it was executive editor, and I was maybe did it for like a year and a half, 2 years, and I took it personally.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is a publication that was ahead of its time, and I will do everything in my power to make Jim just a happy guy. And I woke up every day thinking how I could help rebuild this publication.
I was there.
I'm serious.
You would be there earlier. I tried to get in at like 5:36, and there you were.
Yeah, because I didn't go home. That's true story.
That's what it did. You slept there.
I did. Okay, look.
Well, thank you for having me. This is a delight, and you've done amazing stuff. Hey, that piece, the thing that you posted today, the 10 stocks.
Yeah.
That was like, I look at
only 10
everything.
stocks that matter, Jim.
Right.
I mean, nothing else matters.
I follow you. My wife, Lisa, she just thinks, you know what, that guy was a guy who outworked you, and how great that is because that's what's supposed to happen. And I can't thank you enough.
I still remember you would walk into that office on 14 Wall Street. I tell you about this brown paper bag. I think you had a coffee in there, maybe something.
Yes, I always did from Maksud.
Jim would come in before 7 a.m. and hello. Stocks, talking stocks, like every day, guys. And I should know, too, of course, obviously know Jim, longtime host of Mad Money and co-host of Squawk on the Street at CNBC. Always talking about stocks. Your day starts with stocks.
And that was the place where you could find them. And I know that you knew we were on to something. Remember our fill or kill that we had with Andrew Ben's wife? I'm talking, I should not be so, nobody knows this stuff, but this is what I feel is unfiltered. Yeah. Nobody knows it because I never talked about it, but here I am with the best, unbelievable, and with someone who insists on getting the story and writing constantly. All of it great. I hear that you said that I might be your 200th interview.
I think you're my 200th guest.
Well, you are a great interviewer, and I know our viewers might say, who is this guy? Why is this guy showering praise? I just think that you are everywhere, and that is ubiquity, and that's what matters.
So are you. When I was first starting out, I would watch your show. I would read Barron's, and there were words that I didn't know. I would write down on a piece of paper words that I know, and everything you were talking about, Jim, and I will give you credit. We're going to talk more about Jim's book, stocks. You were the first one to mention a company called Nvidia. I'll say publicly. It was 2015. Jim would walk in with his brown bag into our office talking about a company, Nvidia. He named his dog Nvidia. I didn't know.
I missed that dog.
I didn't even know who NVIDIA was. Didn't even know who Jensen Huang was. Like, what did you see with NVIDIA?
So I told Jensen that I would name my, well, I didn't say, I said, I've got a way to be able to make it so people believe. And then that next, I came in on, and just said, list 17. I said, here's what, in 2017, I said, guys, I renamed my dog Nvidia. He'll answer to it if I have a piece of steak, but I couldn't get people to focus on it. And by the way, no one wanted to believe because it was too crazy. I mean, I got into his office, and the first thing he did was had me speak to a computer. And he said, Chuck, and I said, what do I say to it? He goes, just tell it something. Just ask it something. So I said, you mean like art? He says, ask it anything. So I said, okay, I love Cézanne. I need to have a seascape by Cézanne. I was trying to trick it because Cézanne did still lifes. It came up with a beautiful seascape. And I said, that's inconceivable. It's inconceivable. He said, ask it something else. I said, okay, I want to be at the Globe Theater. I want to see King Henry V, done. I mean, there wasn't anything that I asked it, and I was so limited. I said, could you have it be at the drive-through at Wendy's? Because my wife loves, she loves the Baconator.
Love Wendy's.
And he said, of course, it could be in 26 languages, and it'll never make a mistake. And everything that I tried to stump it at, it had me.
But this is when they were a gaming company.
It was a gaming company.
Jensen didn't have his leather jacket.
And he said, look, not it. And he said, Jim, could you talk about it? No one believes it. And I said, I just saw it with my eyes. I'm going to tell people they must buy this stock. And when people would ask me on the street, like some guy asked me today, and he said, what do you think, Amazon or Apple? That in 2017 would have been, are you an idiot? Buy Nvidia. Yeah. NVDA. And no one knew it other than a gaming company. And I knew it as Jensen Huang, and it was the best pick. I mean, David Faber, who is so mean to me. I mean, he's so horribly mean to me. I know because his mom always says, how can you tolerate my son? He said, greatest pick of all time, Jim. And I am honored because you usually don't get praise. I mean, people are jealous of what we do in terms of stocks, but this was a great one, and I am very proud of it. But it's all in Jensen, and Jensen could not believe that no one believed him, but I did.
You did.
I remember he had this thing in his office it was a car going around and around. I said, what is that car doing? He goes, I'm trying to solve black ice. I said, how many times is that car? He says, that's my 2 millionth time. Because Jensen, he's funny, he's whimsical, he's brilliant, he's the smartest person I've ever met. And he's lovable and kind.
Yeah. You know how hard it is for me not to go back to Wendy's and ask you about the Baconator? And that stock.
No,
I'm not going to do
fine.
it. Same sales never good.
We just had, my wife just had the Baconator 2 weeks ago. And I said, you know what, this is even better than the Egg McMuffin we had 3 weeks ago. Look, we're kind of, my wife's from Queens. She's from 160. She's from Flushing, okay? And all she cares about is a good meal.
So I knew this was not going to follow this outline. But so Jim is here. Is this your 8th book? I remember Confessions of a Street Addict.
That's the one everyone loved. My wife says you got to do a new one, and I said, well, it's be tough because so much has happened in my life. But my wife read it when she first went on a date with me, and she said, I can't go out with this fat bald guy who wrote this book, and because the book just portrays himself as the worst guy in the world. But I was.
What I didn't realize, you, sir, Mount Rushmore of investing, and in my mind, you just are, okay? But what people don't realize, your road to get to where you are in that seat, to where you've been able to host, Mad Money for over 20 years
20
now?
years, yeah.
You slept in your car. You covered the crime.
I slept in my car, but, someone broke into my place. They stole my money. I was covering a sniper in San Diego. It's for the LA Herald Examiner. When I came back, everything was gone. And, it was a different time. Let me explain why it's a different time. It was a time, I used to call myself the swashbuckler. You didn't think it was anything other than cool. Now, it's not. But when you're young, you don't have any sense, you don't have any fear.
That's true.
And it's like always you go to a bar. I used to go to this place called the Formosa, which was a really good bar. And you meet a woman, and it's like your place or mine. How about your place? And I thought it was hysterically funny, but I had no money. And they would tell me I could rove everywhere and then stay in a hotel. That was a big deal. But I saved during that because I didn't want to be poor, Brian. I hated being poor. And I saved everything I could. My father was saying, send it to Fidelity, and then ultimately send it to the Magellan Fund, because then Lynch started. And Lynch is part of what I'm saying here. If you take a look at what he said in One Up on Wall Street, this is the sequel, so to speak. Now, you can never really equal what Peter Lynch did, but it's how to do it now. You see something, You observe a stock. You are curious about it. You can go online now, as you know, and there's stuff that you can find now. You couldn't find anything out back when I started. Yeah. You had to go from microfiche. It was 3 months old, and there was nothing that you knew about a stock and who knew the quarterly reports. Now I try to explain the quarterly reports. I even give how to explain a balance sheet. I tend not to want to talk about, they always tell you when I started, don't talk about the book because that's too, you're a hack. But I do want people to know that you can learn how to do stuff. You can learn how to follow up on the stock because it's now available. And you and I, if we were back working together, I think we would be saying, ChatGPT that. Give me a perplexity right now.
No, Jim, I need to listen. You talk about it here too. I need earnings calls. Those are the most best free assets that anybody can do.
And I tell you how to look at it, how to read it, what has to happen.
What do you look for in an earnings call?
Okay, well, first I think the most important thing is what the CFO says after the CEO. And the CFO lays out the numbers, and there's no BS during when the CFO talks. If there is, to skip it. Like right now, for instance, Costco. Okay, Costco has a new CFO. It's no longer Richard Galanti, and he doesn't have the panache of.
I love Galanti. He's good. He's good. That guy was good.
Galanti was best ever. He was CFO for 36 years there. But I just think Costco's come down because I think people keep waiting to be told the way that Galanti told it. And we've got this guy Miller Chip. He's fine. He's fine. But he doesn't have that kind of Richard would tell analysts.
He sells the story.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think people realize, I want to do a stock because that's what people listen to me for. But I think that's the stock that I've owned it for my child trust forever. But I'm actually willing to buy more at a higher basis. I typically never do that because the stock has come down to below 50 PE at last, and that's where that is where I've always felt that the late Charlie Munger felt it was okay.
Mm-hmm. Throughout the through line of this book, it's your dad, Eagles fan. I'm hitting you hard here, Jim. My
God! He finally thought. Brian, listen to me.
It started with him investing.
My dad thought I was such a loser most of my life. Most of my life, he said there was always someone better. It would be Harry Gross on the radio in Philadelphia. He said, Harry gave me this idea. I said, Pop, how about mine? No, but Harry, there was always someone better. And then finally, I got this box for this at the stadium, and I walked in, and he said, Jimmy, maybe you're doing okay. And it was like I was going to burst I did it. But Pop figures big in here because Pop did it wrong. And we lost everything on a stock called National Video, which was, they made vacuum tubes and putting a solid state in it. And it was a guy, Jack, I'm not going to mention his last name, but he was a tennis player. And he told my father's brother to buy National Video, and then my father's brother told Pop to buy National Video, and it went all the way up, and Pop contributed regularly. You should have, if he had done any homework, he would have known that, but you couldn't then, that the company was challenged by solid state. But then it went all the way down, and he would come into home, and he sold gift wrap, and the Chinese decided to move into gift wrap. They targeted all the companies he repped, but he would take a shot of wild turkey and then go in the bedroom because National Video was impossible. It just went down and down. Meanwhile, one of his closest friends bought Merck every day.
Yeah, Merck.
And Merck.
Home run.
So
Bristol Myers Squibb, Jim.
Yes, Bristol Myers. Yes. Bristol Myers right now is challenged. It's hurting my trust because this Cobenfy may not be working. That's the drug that is for schizophrenia. I'm worried J&J's got schizophrenia. J&J breaking out here.
Mm-hmm. Jim, it sucks. I have to go for a quick break, please.
What do you mean?
It sucks. I will be right away. I never want to break Jim. I didn't want to do it, but I got to do it. We got to pay the bills. We'll be right back on Opening Bid Unfiltered. Hold on. Welcome back to Opening Bid Unfiltered. Like I said, I'm here with a very special guest, essentially the first person that gave me my start in this industry. Long time.
And you look great, man.
I'm High Rocks, Jim. We'll take it offline. I'm training for a High Rocks event. I've really gotten into it. It helps my mind.
Well, I got to tell you that I want people to know that this man, I never saw him sleep because he slept in the office, that he's extraordinary, an unbelievable journalist, and I'm so proud that we worked together. And I know that had we been able to finish what we wanted to do, Pulitzer was in mind for what I thought you could pull.
I'm not done yet, Jim.
Okay.
And of course,
that's right. You're in a place where you're going to get it.
I'm not done. And of course, Jim is the author of the new book, his 8th book. I can't believe he's written 8 books. How to Make Money in Any Market.
I took a break of 10 years because the last book I was very unhappy. I was very unhappy. I'm not going to like say exactly what happened, but there was a version of the book and had a huge number of errors in it. And they were telling me, listen, we can make it up in the second edition. I said, no, we're not going to do that. We're fixing it. And I remember, I was like, I thought I was going to get divorced because I would come home every day and I would just cursing. She said, what are you cursing about? Have a drink.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just stop it. Anyway.
Why, also in this book,
that was a different publisher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not Simon Schuster.
Of course, absolutely.
I've always loved.
They're the best in the business.
Thank you.
Why is the stock market not celebrated, Jim?
Okay, that's a great question because you know how many people it's made big money for if they just buy, if you bought Nvidia, but if you bought Amazon, I mean, I have all the, Apple, I have all the comparisons and how they've done versus the S&P, and it's absurd. I think that we're in a period where people are not sure about capitalism, but I also think that there's a period where we decide to be in index funds. That makes sense. I would say 50% of your money should be in index funds. But I do believe we're still stuck with what happened in 2000. And we're stuck with what happened in 2008, which were both horrendous. Although, of course, if you held on to the Mercs of the world, you ended up doing fine. It went out of style, and it's coming back. But I think the group of people who it needs to appeal to, Gen Z, they're too busy doing crazy stuff. Yeah. Now, look, I don't mind crypto at all. I'm in favor of crypto, but there's probably 0 day.
There's no dividend in crypto.
No.
You lose your password.
Yeah. How about compound? Yeah. But compounding is so boring. People think it's too hard. They don't understand what the PE means. They don't understand what it means to buy and hold a great stock. And I also think that capitalism got a dirty name for a while. Now, I'm a big friend and fan of Ken Langone, who wrote a great book
Home
about
Depot
capitalism.
co-founder?
Yes. Yep. But I do feel that it became, my kids thought, let's use theirs, they thought it became naked wealth. And it got this image of filthy rich. And the billionaires don't help. They always come on, by the way, and tell you the market's too expensive. But the market got a bad rap, and it got a bad rap because it went down big in those times. It got a bad rap because it seemed to be the playground of billionaires. And I want it to be I don't want it to be a playground at all. I want it to be the school for people to get rich, as they did when they bought Nvidia. That was my best pick, but I created FANG.
Come on! I was teeing you up, Jim. You guys, y'all know it on the Yahoo Finance platform is FANG, FANG. It started as FANG by this guy right here, FANG. And you also had what? Cloud Kings.
I had the Cloud Kings and FANG, and those were the two best performers of all time. Netflix was an amazing performer in FANG. I had Apple.
Hartnett created Mag 7.
F was Meta, okay, and G was Alphabet. So thank you, Bob Lang, who also helped. But yeah, I created FANG, and I remember the USA Today did this piece about how he created FANG, and half of it was like the idea that it was just kind of meant to be funny. But I said no, it wasn't meant to be funny. It was meant to buy and hold unless something changed. And FANG was the greatest creator of wealth of my life, other than Nvidia. And I think that my job was to find great stocks, but I wanted people to understand why I thought they were great, which is why I wrote How to Make Money in Any Market. Signed tomorrow. No way. I don't know when. Look, I know you lived it with me, and I know you know how seriously I take it. I want people to be rich, and I know that sounds naked, maybe meretricious, but I want people to be rich, Brian.
Is there a secret to picking a good stock?
You have to see it and believe it. Okay. I'll give you an example one right now, and it's going to report tomorrow. It's going to report soon. Nike, all right? I think Nike's making a comeback. I like the new Nikes. I think that the Foot Locker strategy is good. They're getting away from direct-to-consumer, which would be stolen on your stoop anyway. And I think that Elliott Hill's doing a great job. And so, therefore, if Nike goes down, I will buy more from my charitable trust. That's how I feel about Nike.
But you're all about connecting dots. If Nike's coming back, you don't need to own Under Armour, which is totally falling apart.
I'm worried about Under Armour.
I'm worried about Under Armour.
I'm really worried about Under Armour. And, so what did I do, Nike? I looked at the conference call. This Elliott Hill conference call, last two, he obviously has a real handle on what the previous CEO didn't. It's a great brand. It's down to 68, 69. This is the kind of thing I will buy it and I will own it because I think Elliott's going to turn it. That's the kind of thing you see. It's like, you see something, say something, see something, buy something if you like it. And I tell you, people would say, well, I don't know how to analyze it. Well, that's what the book is for.
Yeah,
it tells you how to read these things. It tells you how to find out if your idea is a good one. And that's what, otherwise, look, I'm throwing people to the wolves if I don't tell them how to do it. Now, I do have, and I say at the end of the book, I have the stocks that I think are going to be great for the next 10 years. But then I write at the end, I wish I didn't have to do that because I want you to do it.
What is it like constantly being asked? You mentioned before, you get stopped on the street. Jim, what stock do I buy?
No, it's absolutely, well, it's not like a horse, Hey, Secretariat. I am asked. I've been asked probably 3 or 4 times a day. There's a guy who stopped me very early this morning. I was nervous, but he just wanted a name. And I said, listen, it's not too late to buy Nvidia. And he said, well, give me something. I wanted something else, And I said, look, I think Apple, I think the launch is going well. What's weird, though, is that people, they think they're just going to get a name. But no, it's like, let me tell you about the launch. Let me tell you, the line in Osaka was, the line in Tokyo last night. And, they're clearly, why is this guy
They got to sign up to your club,
Apple?
Jim. They got to sign up to the club.
Well, I want them to be members of the club, and I think the club is great. And there's, I hope to get 100,000 members of the club. We pour our hearts out. Jeff Mark,
of course,
said for you. Jeff Mark, well,
I work with all those guys.
You know all these people, and we really pride ourselves. I did a piece yesterday. I got up early because I didn't want to miss the 9:30 game because my kids watch football with me. So I got up 7:30, and I just wrote for 2 hours, and then I wrote for another hour between the games, and then I watched the Eagles. But this was a 3,000-word piece that I had to write.
And Jim's still writing all his stuff. I'm sure you.
It is 3,000-word piece about why you should not think that, even though it's true that I didn't like the deal with OpenAI getting the money, this fungible money, why you should believe in the build-out, why you should believe in CoreWeave, why you should believe in what Meta's doing, why you should believe. I hope Amazon spends a little more money. I wish they would.
I got about 4.5 minutes left, and
are you kidding me?
I always wanted to do this.
Are you kidding me?
It's lightning round time. I got all my questions that my universe asked me because they knew I was talking, Jim. Jim, I'm going to do it. I'm on all the stops today. Sleeves are all up, everything. One stock you'd buy and keep for a year.
That's going to be Nike. I front run myself.
Okay, I like that. The Fed cuts. You think they will be too soon cutting rates or too late?
I think they're fine. I think that Jay Powell's doing a great job. I don't know how he does it with cartoons written, "You're fired." Jay is an amazing guy, and I met Jay years and years and years ago, just at a party, and I said, "This guy is really smart." And everyone else was saying "Yeah," but he's smart right now. Can't we just have a little fun?
Recession next year or no?
No, are you kidding me? I'm not worried about a boom over here.
Most underrated CEO in the U.S.
Kelly Ortberg, who's turning around
Boeing.
Yes.
You think he can do it? What does the turnaround for Boeing look like?
It means living like you did on the floor at TheStreet. He's living on the factory floor. By the way, humorless. I love that.
If you weren't doing Mad Money, what would you be doing?
I was doing Mad Money at home. That's the problem. I'd be just looking at hey, I think you buy.
Gardening. You like to garden?
I do like to garden.
I have seen these giant tomato photos of you.
No, I had a good garden this year, but my wife had to do all the sauce because I had to read my book by audio, and it was I lost a couple Saturdays, so we only did about 40 jars. I'm gonna have one tonight, though.
Biggest investing mistake you've ever made in one word? Or two?
No, I'm thinking I'm gonna say Memorex, and here's why. It was a $2 stock. And I kept buying it at 1 5/8, 1.5. I said, how much could you lose? And I lost everything.
Last one, I'm just adding in here and then we'll let you go. Nvidia, what does the next 10 years look like for one of the companies that you helped discover?
Okay, Nvidia is going to make I don't want to threaten anybody or scare anybody, okay? But the next iteration, which is the Vera Rubin, who is from Philadelphia, is a reasoning chip, reasoning platform. So you could ask it, right now, if you're a fourth-year associate at a law firm, you can help look things up. Someone would say, I need the history, I need everything that's ever been, every judgment that we've ever had on this one issue. The next one is going to be, let me tell you what I think, and it's going to be maybe superior to how you're thinking.
Wow.
So you don't need that fourth-year associate anymore. That's the big breakout, is the reasoning one. And we're all going to struggle with whether it reasons in a way that's better than ours. And there'll be far fewer mistakes. They do have to start getting deals. They have to start doing deals with the New York Times. You ever see you never get the Times because the Times is trying to stop them. That's why Cloudflare is such a good stock. But that is the next Nvidia, Jensen tells me, is the one that is going to dazzle. Do you know what read Moby Dick in a second?
Really?
Yeah.
That's not.
Actually, it was Grace Blackwell read in a second.
That is.
And Moby Dick's a hard book to get through.
Yeah, I remember reading as a kid, Jim.
Call me Brian.
Oh, okay. We're going to do it. Jim's got a lot to do.
Can I just say one last thing?
Please, go ahead.
I need to do that.
You're the man. I could actually.
Great.
If you actually had time, I mean, this is like a 3-hour thing, but I know this is not Joe Rogan type podcast time. Jim's got to go. He's got shows to host. He's got people to do. He's got subscribers, and he's got a life to live. Get Jim's book, his 8th book, How to Make Money in Any Market. Jim, thank you for everything
Brian,
you've done for me.
So much.
No, I'm serious. Really.
Oh, thank you for everything you've done for me.
You're the man. And that's it for the latest episode of Opening Bid Unfiltered. I hope you liked this episode. Hit me with questions at Brian Sozzi and at Jim Cramer. Send those questions before 5 a.m. because we're up answering these things before 5 a.m. Thanks so much for the support and love. I appreciate it.
Holy cow.